Some, this is one of the pictures it's one of my favorite. I think this is a good zipper. So I really like this. I want to put it out here when I do my, where did I put it? You guys have? Well, today we gather to remember and celebrate the life of my dear cousin, Kuya Nesty. Thank you. Our clan come from a group of families from Pampanga that traveled to the city and settled in a place called Masina in Guadalupe, Makati, where every house next to you are first cousins. The house across are second cousins. The house next to them are third cousins. I think the preposition phrase, like around, above, below, were invented because of our family, the family situation. Kuya Nesty's dad, whom we call Manong, and my nanay are siblings from 5 brothers and sisters. So there are about 15 first cousins. I think he is either the third or fourth from the oldest, and I was fourth from the youngest. There's probably a 7 or 8, I think he's born 1963, so there's an 8-year gap between he and I. And I would say I felt as an outsider among the cousins, as my dad decided to move us and we live about an hour away. My ate, my sister, had the luxury of staying connected with them as she remained in her school that was near Masila. So she still had the chance to hang out and play with the cousins after school. Being disconnected to my cousins, I was teased a lot. I was called Amo, which is monkey for in Visayan language or dialect. And I don't know how that came about and why. Until now, I really believe that the nickname was started by Kuya Nesty. Either he or Kuya Egay, one of those, because those are the pranksters in our family. But I had a weapon. Every time I get teased, all I have to do is shout, "Nayo!" Right? And which means, "Mom, look." And they shut up or scramble away. Because now that they know that my mom could show up any minute. Oh boy, they tease me a lot. As a kid, I found it to be mean, but honestly, with Kuya Nesty, I have always felt that he was more playful to me when he was teasing me rather than bullying. But I have more fond memories of him when we reconnected here in the US. This was after graduating in college and I was a fresh migrant here. I'm blessed to have the type of relationship with all my cousins where even if I don't see them regularly, but when I see them, you know that there is this special bond. There's no awkwardness. And when you feel that, where you feel that deeply connected, you feel deeply connected with each other. He's one of the cousins that I've always looked forward seeing when there's a gathering. Because he is just fun to be with, fun to talk to. He has this big smile, giant smile, and this big laugh, and just full of life. For me, he was naturally funny. As we reminisce about the moments we shared with him, it's impossible not to recall the laughter and joy he brought into our lives. I'd like to share a few stories that capture Kuya Nesty's humor. The first story takes us back to our childhood in the Philippines. Like I mentioned, our families lived next to each other, sharing not only the same neighborhood, but also the same plumbing system. When One house had the lower water pressure. We had a unique way of communicating with the other family. We would use a wrench or this metal thing to tap on the plumbing system, right? This is a signal to the other end to close their tap. Remember those days where you shared the plumbing? Fast forward for a gathering here in the US, after a few drinks, I remember this was, I think, Kuya Ega's house. I saw Kuya Nesty playfully tapping a spoon on the plastic spout of a water dispenser. And he was just kept on tapping it. And I went to him like, hey, what's going on? And then he shouted, tubig, just water, right? Of course, Kuya Ege came out and just replaced the bottled water. Another memorable moment of my cousin, in the same house, I believe, after a long night of drinking with the cousins, I was sleeping on the couch in the living room next to the kitchen when I was awakened and I heard Kuya Nesty and Kuya Egay talking in the kitchen. Kuya Egay was avoiding to wake me up, so whisperly asked Kuya Nesty, like, hey, how are you going to work? With his trademark low voice, he declared, I was going to ask Ronel to drop me off to work. Of course, that loud voice is the same amount of voice that I'm saying right now. Woke me up, looked at him, and I'm like, yeah, and then he goes, oh, now you're awake, can you take me to work? Of course, I dropped him off to work. Again, there's numerous stories. Another story that I remember was another that reflects the sense of humor was when he asked a bunch of us. I remember Atang was there and a few of us to help him push his car because he has some troubles with his. I forgot his traditional Chevy, I think. And he never told us. He was asking us to help him push the car, and I thought it's a jump start push. You know, you push it out. No, the car has a problem with the reverse. Right? As we walk out on the street, there's a lot of places where you can park, flat areas. No, he chose to go on a hill. And not only that, I mean, if you have a problem backing up, you park downwards, or I'm sorry, upwards, so at least gravity will help you back up. No. He parked downwards. So there was like 4 of us trying to hold the car, pushing it up so he can get out of the space. And you know that he was intent because I remembered seeing him on the side mirror laughing while we were like pushing the car. Lastly, this was shared by my dad recently, and I still remember laughing because my dad was a neighbor to them. Right? I think you guys were like throw stones away from my dad. During one of his visits to my dad's house, they shared a moment at my dad's small bar area where a bowl of M&M was placed next to the drinks. I don't know if you remember this one. Kuya Nesty, according to my dad, Kuya Nesty scooped his hand into the bowl and started eating. So my dad is like a germophobic, decided to bring out a small spoon as a scooper. And he said, wow, so shallow. Right? And he used the spoon to scoop and then fed himself. Those are the fun, these are the stories that just, a glimpse of joy and laughter that Kuya Nesty brought into our lives. He had a big heart, a contagious laugh, and the ability to turn a simple moment into a memorable one. As we remember Kuya Nesty today, I'd like to share a meaningful tribute. I remember my Uncle Art, in his eulogy to my nanay, a few years ago, 18 years ago today, the meaning of the short dash between the birthday and death date on the headstone does not apply to my mom. I don't know if you know that, right? That small dash in your stone, between the birth and the death, represents the life that you live. And I remembered my Uncle Art saying, no, that is not deserving for my mom. Because my mom live a fulfilling life, that it should be a long dash. That's what we actually did on our headstone. If you've never noticed it before, next time you visit my nanay's resting place, check it out. You're gonna see the stone has a very long dash because it represents the long life that she lived. We are on this age of avatars and emojis. Kuya Nesty's life was a testament to a life well lived. I would suggest to Ate Kame that he should have a smiling emoji on his stone, a reflection of happiness and joy he brought into our lives. Actually, Drew, ask to draw. You can put this on his stone. This is a perfect replica of that. Kuya Nesty, your laughter, your humor, and your warm spirit will forever be in our hearts. May you find eternal happiness in the company of angels, and your memory bring us comfort and smiles in the days to come. And so, in closing, I circle back to that familiar weapon of mine. And I say, Nayo, come fetch your beloved nephew that is about to join you in heaven. Rest in peace, Kuya Nesty. Your laughter will forever echo in our hearts. I remember attempting to sing this in my nanay's, and I'll try to sing a fraction if I can. Hiram sa Diyos ang aking buhay. Ikaw at ako'y tanging handog lamang. Di ko na ninais na ako'y isilang, ngunit salamat dahil may buhay. Ligaya ko na ako'y isilang, pagkat ako ay mayroong dangal. Sino may pag-ibig, sinong nagmamahal, kundi ang tao, Diyos ang pinagmulan. Kundi ako umibig, kundi ko man bigyang halaga ang buhay.